So, the ICC is considering changing the length of a test match from 5 days to just 4 days. The cricket committee is debating whether tests from 2023 onwards should be 4 days long. Now, why would they want to make such a fundamental change to the way most test matches have been played since the 1950s? The first and most important reason is to free up room in the crowded cricket schedule. In the current cycle, from 2015 to 2023, there are 335 tests scheduled. Shave a day off each. That's 335 days free over 8 years that you now have to play with. There's a lot administrators could do with that. Boards could schedule extra white ball matches during a tour. If shorter tests mean the shortening of some sides' home seasons, the ICC could squeeze in the extra world tournament that's been talked about, which would have global interest and be financially lucrative. Then the BCCI could use the extra days to extend their home season, as they've been wanting to. And larger windows could be created specially for T20 leagues. All of these would make organizers, sponsors, and broadcasters happy. There has also been a suggestion that Test cricket itself may be more viewer friendly if it were 4 days long instead of 5. One thing the 4-day period would allow is a fixed Thursday to Sunday schedule with 3-day breaks, standard in modern times, between test matches. Currently, a test series schedule will often look like this. Since a lot of tests have been finishing inside 4 days in recent times, more than 60% in the past 2 years in fact, boards prefer to have the 3rd and 4th days of a test match over the weekend. But if you do that for the first test of a series, you can't for the rest if you have 5 scheduled days. You could increase the gaps between the games, but that's an extra strain on your schedule. 4-day tests would mean compact test series with the most exciting days always on the weekends, when people are most likely to watch. You may even sometimes be able to fit in an extra test with the days saved. Say for series such as Australia-India, which are currently 4 test matches long. You'd also save a degree of costs, as you wouldn't have to incur expenditure such as player hotels, catering or security for a 5th day, when, as mentioned earlier, there often isn't any cricket anyway. Now, as expected, there has been significant pushback from cricketers and coaches on 4-day test matches. Their arguments are varied, from it corrupting the format, to it not being enough of a step up from first-class cricket, to it completely changing the dynamics of test matches, and possibly leading to defensive cricket, to it leading to longer days and workloads for cricketers. And many of these points are valid. For example, though there isn't any clarity from the ICC yet, it is expected that 4-day test matches will have 96 or 98 overs per day as opposed to the current 90, to reduce the total number of overs lost by chopping off the 5th day. But with teams often barely being able to fit 90 overs in a day before the light fades, especially in the subcontinent where the winters have shorter sunlight hours, there are doubts about whether fitting more overs in a day's play is realistic. Plus, having to play longer hours may put pressure on already burdened cricketers. The fact that most test matches finish before the 5th day anyway doesn't necessarily mean you won't have more draws if there are 4-day tests. The dynamics of the game will change, and teams may choose to play more defensively to ensure draws. It's worth remembering though that the length of Test cricket has varied since its inception. During the early years, England hosted 3-day tests, while Australia had timeless ones. The Ashes had 4-day tests between 1930 and 1948 before they became 5-day test matches. But other teams were still regularly playing 4-day tests even in the early 1950s. It was only in the late 50s that 5-day test matches became more or less standard, though there have been some exceptions even since then. So, do you think test matches need another change in length?